The games industry has never been this accessible. However, the competition is incredibly fierce now more than ever, so here's my top tips on how to break into the industry in 2024. Welcome to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. As usual, my name is Harvey Newman and I've been in the games industry for 20 plus years, and I'd like to share my knowledge of what I've learned here with all of you. Now, if this video proves useful to you, at the end of the video, consider subscribing if you haven't so far. Also give it a like because it helps me a ton, and drop a comment down below with your thoughts about this subject because I like to actually have a conversation, a debate if you will, on some of these topics that I talk about, because it's always good to talk more about some of this serious business. Now, without further ado, let's talk about the games industry, because in 2024 it has never been easier to actually get into the industry. When I started, there was only three. For the most part, you could become either a game animator, you could become a film animator, or VFX. There was also stop motion, but that was incredibly niche, still niche nowadays. But games were basically the infant of the three options that you had for the most part, and they could take anybody, really, because, you know, they're so young and the quality of the animations were not the best. So as long as you had a little bit of talent and a little bit of luck, because the animator pool was not so big, then you could actually basically get into it. And same thing with game development. But now the tables have turned and games are actually the biggest industry out there, and it requires the most technical know-how, requires the most polished skills, and everybody wants the best cinematics and the best gameplay and all these other things. So it makes it really complicated. However, even though it's harder to actually get into games, to get into film, at least from when I started, because the demand was so high, I would say that it's perhaps slightly easier nowadays to get into film than it used to be before. And VFX is touch and go because the industry is going through a lot of changes. However, there is a few other industries that have popped up out of nowhere that actually give you opportunities outside of these three industries that I just mentioned before. And some of those are going to be VR. That didn't exist when I started, and now you can actually animate for games in VR, you can actually animate for apps in VR, and a bunch of other things. There's also AR, which is what Apple Vision is doing nowadays, and Microsoft is trying to do as well, and things like that. And then there's also AI. And AI is controversial, right? Because it comes with a negative connotation, especially when it comes to art. And in regards to AI, as long as you look at it from a tool perspective that is there to help you, I believe it might be useful for us, because it might facilitate our hard work as an animator, as a developer, because what we do is so heavy on repetition that I do think that there's a work there for us. And last but not least, it's Web 3.0. What used to be called metaverse. And there's lots of games out there, even though they are smaller, they are more from indie developers, and a lot of the developers don't know what they are doing because they are new to games development. I do think that there's opportunities out there for animators as well. Now, having said all that, as you can tell, there's plenty of opportunity out there. The feeling overall is that, there's not a lot of jobs out there. But if I think about it, even when I started 20 plus years ago, I used to feel that way. There's not enough jobs for game development, there's not enough jobs for animators, and it still feels that way nowadays. So even though things have changed quite a bit, the feeling is the same. So this is why I decided to make this video on how to actually break into the industry in 2024. And I would say that the best first thing that you need to do, as usual, is building the best portfolio possible, because that becomes what used to be the business card. Like, who is this person? How good are they? How talented are they? How much do we need him or need her? All these things that you actually want to do in a showreel or in a portfolio. So build an irresistible portfolio as best as you possibly can. Now, you want to make sure in this portfolio that you actually showcase not only talent, but you actually are used to the tools of the industry. And what in the tools of the trade means for professionals looking at a showreel is very much that this person is very skilled, also knows the tools. Therefore, I don't have to teach them how to actually do the job. I can just talk to them in regards to the quality that I want and how much do I want and where do we need to actually kind of like go in terms of creativity. I do think that from a technology perspective, now that everybody's savvy, now that AI is around, now that even software like Maya looks kind of like old school, I think that learning the tools and knowing them well bodes really well for you because it's going to become the norm. Now, when it comes to the best tools that you can learn right now, most likely are going to be like Unreal, number one, absolutely number one if you want to be a games developer. So if you learn Unreal, you are going to be like probably able to work in most studios out there. Second one probably is going to be Maya and not Blender. The reason why you should learn Maya is mainly because 90% of the industry, games, film, VFX, even like these other industries that are coming up, they're all using Maya, right? Having said all that, Epic is doing a brilliant job at basically incorporating all this other DCC software, meaning like this external software, into their own engine, which then means that hopefully 10, 15 years, 20 years from now, you're going to be able to just sit down in front of Unreal and be able to animate and model and do all these things at a high level and not have to actually kind of like jump between softwares. But we're not there yet, unfortunately. So until then, make sure that you learn this type of software so you can actually become really, really good at what you do and have a killer portfolio. Now, the third thing that I think you should do in order to break into the industry today is building an online presence. Because if people don't know who you are, what have you done, what kind of works you have out there, all these other things, it means that you don't really, it kind of feels that way, and I'm going to say something perhaps controversial, but it almost means like you don't exist in the sphere of your peers, if that makes sense. So it might be one tweet, it might be a portfolio, it might be a game that you worked in, it might be a number of things, but the idea is that people know you for something. It might be that you are an indie developer, and that kind of like just starts kind of building a machine that the more stuff you do and the more stuff you put online, the more people know about you, what you do, what do you stand for, all these other things. And I'm not talking about politics or religion, I'm talking about your work, right? How does your work kind of like resonate with others? So whenever they hire somebody, no matter where they are in the world, they want to make sure that this person is staying here and is the perfect person for the job, and also is going to stay here for a long time. So they start looking at what kind of things have you done, how much time have you worked in a company, and what is the company saying about you, what are you doing on social media, most likely. There's a bunch of different variables that the company needs to take account, and then this is why HR is there, kind of like perusing this person as much as possible to find out if this person fits the role, especially if they're thinking about you seriously. They will be thinking about those things. So building that online presence becomes your way, your vehicle for you to be like sure that you got this, right? You actually have done your homework, you're out there, your people are liking what you're doing, people are like, talking to you online and actually kind of like reacting to what you do. And what used to be the LinkedIn reviews where you ask somebody to review your work or how you work together in the company and stuff like that, I think that is basically social media now, right? Whatever you do. So I do think building an online presence is really important. And what I would say, specifically for us as game developers in games, animators, artists, and all these other things, I think that probably the number one platform that you should be actually adhering to is probably LinkedIn. LinkedIn is absolutely massive when it comes to recruiters looking for you and what you've done and your story and stuff, even bigger than a resume. Now, a top tip here is that make sure you post often on LinkedIn and make sure your posts are always informative and always about something that you're passionate about or you want to do about. Now, the second one I think would probably be Twitter. Twitter is absolutely massive when it comes to games development. You need to have an identity, you need to engage with others, you need to retweet tweets, and most importantly, you need to showcase your work on Twitter that hopefully will actually trend when it comes to Google searches, right? Now, the last one that I would say when it comes to networking and personal branding is going to be attending events and attend them in person. If possible, you can actually attend virtual ones like GDC, but if you attend in person, it makes a massive difference, believe it or not. Meeting people in person talking to them, actually saying, I'm so and so and I'm interested in your company, or here's my show reel and all these other things, it kind of like shifts something in your brain. There's nothing like the human contact that basically makes people remember you and also makes people recommend you just based off your personality. So if you go in person to the GDCs of the world, the Gamescoms of the world, and have meetings and approach people and showcase your show reel and your portfolio, take it with you for sure, then definitely you might have a better chance than you think. When you get there, most likely if you network a lot and you talk to people, and I know it's hard for us because most of us are introverts, but you will find people that will actually get you to other people that then eventually kind of funnel you to the right opportunity, right? Sometimes you go to a Naughty Dog or a Blizzard and they'll be like, well, sorry, we don't have any openings right now. But if you go over there to Bungie, they are looking for animators, so go ahead and just like talk to them. I'm pretty sure they'll like you because we liked you, so I'm pretty sure they'll like you. And just like that, it just made like, 2 or 3 network contacts. And if you have a card with you, just give it to them and then hopefully they'll contact you in the future, right? So that's kind of how it works when you go in person. Now, as you work on your personal brand network, showcasing practical skills is absolutely crucial. One highly in-demand skill in 2024 is motion capture for games development. In fact, this can really help you set you apart from other applicants. So I created this course called Motion Capture for Games, and it takes you through everything from setting up your mocap to actually starting exporting it, cleaning it up, at a very high level. So if you're serious about landing that dream job, mastering mocap could be your game changer. Check out my course if you want to know more, link down below. Tip number 4 is job search secrets. Finding a job nowadays can be done in a number of ways. It used to be just you go to a website, you apply on the website, and that's about it. Nowadays, you have a bunch of different ways of actually going about finding new jobs. You have people like myself and others just like retweeting companies that are looking for animators because we know people, or they actually say we're looking for these people, so do you know anybody? So we go like, this company is looking for jobs. He's looking for animators, or he's looking for artists or whatever, so we spread the word. But another way of doing it is also like companies go to Twitter and then say like, apply to become an animator for this project. There's also LinkedIn, which is the obvious choice nowadays, that you can go to LinkedIn, you actually add your details, you add the kind of job that you want, and they keep feeding you information on new job offers that exists out there. However, I think there's one that people miss a lot, which is Discord communities. There's a lot of Discord communities based on your niche, based on what you want, that basically if you join them, they normally have job boards or job groups, and you can basically find out a lot of the things or jobs or opportunities out there that sometimes go amiss if you're actually just looking for yourself. So you have a bunch of people helping you to find your dream job, which then ends up being amazing. And what's more is that sometimes a lot of people go, look, this company is looking for a job, I recommend you apply in this way. Or they are looking for this type of things in their specific jobs. Or I work for this company and I highly recommend them, you guys should definitely apply. So all of these extra comments on the job description means that you now have more information than you had previously that makes you a better candidate than you were if you did it by yourself. Now, number 5 and last tip is to keep learning and adapting. Now, I go on about this in this channel for quite a while, and those that have been subscribers for a while know that I actually like to say this very often, but genuinely the industry, the technology, just the internet overall is changing so fast. I think the older you get, the harder it is, for sure. I can say that from experience, which means that if you are new, if you are young, if you're just like getting started, absolutely always learn. If you are older and also are trying to actually get a job or change jobs or shift your career in any way, then definitely learn as much as possible and adapt, right? So for example, one good example is AI. AI is out there. AI, everybody's talking about AI. It feels like you cannot escape it. It's a lot, even for myself. However, I do think that you ignoring it because you don't like it kind of puts you at disadvantage, right? Because what if something really good or something that people use a lot comes along that actually makes a huge difference? And the example that I have here is when 3D software, Maya, 3D Max, and all these other softwares start to came online. So they immediately said no to this type of software because, you know, computers are too complicated, or I'm a 2D animator, or a bunch of different reasons. But the softwares kept becoming better and better. So basically, things don't stop. Like, you stop yourself, but like tech just keeps on moving. So if you miss it, you kind of miss the train, and it's a problem. So you at least getting familiar with what AI can do, you getting familiar if there's anything out there that starts to pique your interest, just being curious about exactly what's out there helps you a ton to basically keep up with trends and also keep yourself a little bit more on edge, a little bit better than others, because you know a little bit more, or you have a little bit more information than others. That then ends up helping you when you start getting that job, because you end up hopefully being that person that actually thinks outside the bubble and kind of goes like, have you tried this tool? Have you tried this software? This thing might be much better, because you are looking for those things, right? So learning and adapting becomes a massive thing that you can take with yourself and can become part of your, you know, personal journey as an artist, as an animator, as a games developer. And that is it. So, as mentioned in the beginning, if this video was useful to you in any ways, consider subscribing, give it a like, and comment below. And don't forget to actually join my motion capture course if you're looking to actually become better at motion capture, cleanup, knowing how the professionals actually make this mocap magic happen both in Maya and in Unreal. Join the course, link below, and until the next video, stay well, stay safe. Peace.